Larks.
So join me down at the old ballpark. I'll be rooting for the Hayes Larks.
Hayes Larks.
Join me down at the old ballpark. I'll be rooting for the Hayes Larks.
Hayes Larks. The Larks got another big run rule win at Larks Park last night, defeating the Denver Cougars 12-1, and are about set for game number 2 of this 3-game series here at Larks Park on this Saturday night action as we welcome you into the pregame show. My name is Hank Corsair, and alongside me is Eli Blankenship. And it was kind of a slow start for the Larks. They led throughout until they and then that 8th inning, that's when things really took off, where they scored 9 combined runs in the 8th inning alone and got another run rule victory.
They did, and it wasn't until, like you said, the 8th inning when things really started to pick up for the Larks. I was kind of waiting for something to just break open. It was just a matter of time in that game. It seemed like it was just a bunch of buildup, and you could just feel the pressure on both squads, and it was just slowly building, and it was just going to take one team to have a big inning for the game to really break open in terms of scoring. We've seen this Larks team put up a lot of runs on the board before. They did that last night. They did an excellent job in kind of sticking with it. You know, we talked about towards the end of that game about the determination that took for them to be able to be resilient all the way from the start to the finish of that game. I didn't think they had any chance to run rule them last night. Lo and behold, they put up 9 runs in the very last inning of the game, which was the bottom of the 8th, where they've hit back-to-back grand slams. I have never in my life seen 2 grand slams in an inning. That is insane.
And while we're used to talking about how big the pitching comes up in games like that for the Larks, we really got to talk about the fielding from last night, because the Cougars were making contact with the ball, but the guys in the field came up and made some big-time plays. We had a couple double plays. Some guys in the outfield made some highlight plays, and overall it's the pitching that was saying thank you to the fielding this time around. Yeah,
without a doubt. Caleb Duncan had a incredible play in the outfield. He had this Superman diving catch last night. I'm still not over that play. That was incredible. That's the kind of play that you would see on like a Sports Center Top 10 highlight. It was incredible catch, and then we just had some great plays all over the field, really. But that, I think, to me was the big standout play for me last night, was Caleb Duncan really holding it down in the outfield.
And looking at tonight's matchup, one thing to highlight is the pitching matchup for tonight. For the Cougars, they're going to be trying to bounce back. They'll be throwing one of their top starters tonight, Simon Lunsford, who has the best record on the team at 4-2 and is also a team leader in strikeouts. A very young talent. He'll be going up against Trent Baker in the pitching matchup tonight, who has primarily been used for the Larks when he comes in for pitching as a late game guy trying to close things out. But he's had some strong performances in the starting position, so it should be an interesting matchup there tonight.
Yeah, it should be an interesting matchup. We talked a little bit about it last night, that the pitching matchup last night was so unique because there were very little strikeouts over a lot of innings pitched from the starting 2 pitchers, and they pitched really well. It's just they weren't getting strikeouts, and it really came down to the infielders that made that difference. They were the difference maker in last night's game. We'll see if it's kind of different tonight. Maybe tonight it's going to be the pitchers are going to be commanding the game. Maybe it's going to be an offensive-heavy game. It's so hard to tell with these 2 teams because they have very similar styles of play in some sense.
Should be an interesting matchup. We are 9 minutes away from first pitch. They are currently the host families here at Larks Park, so it should be a good night for the players, and they'll look for another win. First pitch is up next here on the Larks Network. We are about set to go in game number 2 of this 3-game series. The Larks are fresh off of another run rule win victory last night. They'll look to get another big win as Trent Baker makes the start on the mound tonight. It highlights a very interesting pitching matchup for the Cougars. They're going with one of their most experienced guys, and for Trent Baker, he has some experience at the starting position, but he's more so used in the late game situations.
Well, and at least the Larks organization had a really nice tribute to Trent Baker this evening, a well-vetted player on this roster. He's been around for quite some time and has done a lot for this organization, was a big piece of their 2024 NBC World Series championship victory, and he really truly has been around for quite some time now with this Lark squad, and this home crowd really loves him. The organization loves him, and it was really awesome to get to see them kind of pay homage to him.
It was really special to see him get honored, and starts with a 2-1 count here in the game against the starting batter for the Cougars. That is number 15, Dylan Whitfield. Starting with a 2-1 count. First pitch tonight comes at 7:13 p.m. 99 degrees, but it is cloudy here in Hays, Kansas, so that helps the fans in attendance tonight as Whitfield will foul off another ball, moving the count to 2-2.
Be curious to see how the weather holds out tonight. I saw some angry-looking clouds on my way to work this evening, so we'll see if there's a rain delay tonight or not.
Next pitch misses down low, and it leads to a full count. Whitfield held back just enough and avoided going around. Here is the rest of the Cougars' order. After Dylan Whitfield, Matthew Shipley is on deck. Will Brassel is in the hole. Finn O'Connor will be batting fourth. As the payoff pitch is put in play, it's fielded by the third baseman, Thomas Lissy. Throw from across the field over to Lorenzo Rios, and he's got the catch for out number 1.
The Larks kind of picking up where they left off after last night's excellent defensive performance from the Larks squad. They really relied a lot on their infielders and outfielders for that matter, and yet again, the Larks have continued to play fantastic defense.
We'll see if that continues right here. Matthew Shipley is up next. And he'll leave the first one out there for ball 1. Here's the rest of the order. After we said Finn O'Connor's batting fourth, Riley Hall will be the 5th batter in the order. Then Carter Olek will bat 6th. Alden Quintanilla is batting 7th. And we see another ball put in play. C.J. Reed playing shortstop tonight, fields it on the run, and the Larks get another throw down to first base, and they got an opportunity for a 3-up, 3-down inning as they put up out number 2.
Nice defensive effort there from C.J. Reed. He's playing in that position that he's not always the most familiar with. He's typically playing that second base position. Now, shortstop's virtually almost the same position. I wouldn't say the exact same position, but very similar. And so C.J. Reed coming up big there with that play.
And again, another one put on the left side of the infield. Lissy almost fielded it, but that one will roll away from him. And on an air, Will Brassel's the first runner of the game.
Yeah, I'm wondering if there was just a little bit of miscommunication there between Lissy and C.J. Reed, and Lissy went for the ball and then realized maybe it was Reed's ball to take and kind of let up on the ball, and I think that might have just potentially messed with his head a little bit in the process of fielding that one.
Luckily for the Larks, they got 2 outs early on in the game, and now Finn O'Connor comes up to bat. And this time, Reed fields another one. This one will just be a fielder's choice and an underhand toss to Jackson Babcock, and the Larks get out number 3. 2 outs to start the inning. Will Brassel reaches first on an error, and Finn O'Connor grounds out to a fielder's choice. And now we'll go to the bottom half of the first inning up next. Larks made a strong defensive effort early on, getting the 3 outs and only leaving 1 runner on base in that top half of the first inning. And they're ready to go to work with the bats. Tonight they are facing the Cougars' most experienced pitcher. It is their ace. It's number 33, Simon Luntz. Apologize for the technical difficulties with the mic once again, but they are pitching their ace tonight. It's number 33, Simon Lunsford, making the start. His 7th start of the year, and he will deliver to Lane Sparks. He drills this one into center field. It'll be tracked down by Whitfield for the first out of the inning.
Well, there's some interesting wind going on here tonight at Larks Park, and you saw there from Whitfield, the center fielder, he kind of misjudged that ball initially and had to run back on it. He actually kind of had a difficult job to be able to haul that one in. I didn't know if he was going to make it or not, but you'll notice the flagpoles indicating the wind is blowing from right field right now, and it's blowing from that right to left field. But previously when the game started, it actually looks like it was coming from dead center. So I think the wind's starting to shift a little bit, and that may play into effect here as we progress through this game.
It'll be interesting to see how the weather plays out. I can see comments being left by one of our fans saying that there's thunder to the north and a rain sheet below the cloud looking to be at about Plainville. But from what I've heard, the rain should miss us tonight. As Caleb Duncan puts another one in play, it's an 0-1 count, and he grounds out over to O'Connor for the second out.
It'll be interesting to see how this Denver Cougars squad responds after getting run ruled last night, especially the way that they got run ruled, because they really played a pretty complete game all the way up until the bottom of the 8th inning, and that's when things got broken open, and then all of a sudden it was just a massacre. But before that, this Denver Cougars team was neck and neck with this Larks squad all game long. They were going back and forth all game, and so it'll be interesting to see how they perform tonight.
We'll see if Jackson Babcock can keep the inning alive here for the Larks as the Cougars trying to make a stop early on. Here is the rest of the Larks order. Brady Kreitzer's batting 4th. Wilbert Espinal's in designated hitter spot once again, moving up to 5 in the order. Paul Smith will bat 6th. Then Babcock puts one right back up the middle, and he's got the first hit of tonight's game.
That was a good-looking knock there from Jackson Babcock. Was able to slice it on around the shortstop, O'Connor, who really didn't even have a chance to field the ball there. That ball came pretty hard off of Jackson Babcock's bat. It was had some pretty good speed on that, getting out into the outfield, and was a pretty nice base hit for Jackson Babcock. And we'll see if the Larks can't put together a little 2-out rally here in the bottom of the first.
I'm trying to read every team's lineup, but every time I get started on it, the ball just immediately gets put in play. So we'll wait the first pitch here to Kreitzer. Finds the outside corner for strike 1. So Wilbert Espinal's up next in the designated hitter spot, batting 5th. Paul Smith is 6th in the order. And the final 3 batters will be Thomas Lissy, Lorenzo Rios, and C.J. Reed.
I think the ball's going to get put in play here in a second.
Well, I wasn't talking, so. That one left in the dirt will put the count at 1-1. Here is the Cougars' defensive alignment, in the outfield from left to right is number 17, Braden Gillum, number 15, Dylan Whitfield, and number 14, Alden Quintanilla. And we'll look at the infield in just a second as that one breaks it down low and just misses. Ties the count up 2-1 to Kreitzer. Matthew Shipley is at third base. Over at first is number 26, Will Brassel. And on the inside of the infield is number 8, Carter Olek playing second base, and number 6, Finn O'Connor at the shortstop position. And for the Cougars, their catcher tonight is number 21, Ethan Jackson. Lunsford puts another one down low. He is ahead in the count 2-2. Your umpires for tonight in the field are Jeff Keith, and behind the plate is Zach Goldberg. Babcock will take a short lead off first base as the pitch goes to the plate, and this one will be fouled off, keeping the count even. Kreitzer looking for a big hit right here. He was primarily used as a courtesy runner in last night's game. And he'll swing and miss right here, and that will retire the side. Larks started the inning with 2 outs. Jackson Babcock gets a single on a 1-0 count. And then the final out follows immediately after that. Time for the top half of the second inning where the Cougars will send up Riley Hall, Carter Olek, and Alden Quintanilla when we come back. Both teams got one runner on in the first inning and left both stranded. We'll see if things open up here in the second as Riley Hall, the designated hitter for the Cougars, lead things off this inning. Still facing off against the starter Trent Baker on a 0-1 count. He will hit this one into foul territory. Thomas Lissy tried chasing it down. The count now goes to 0-2. And like I said in the last inning, the ball kept getting put in play when I was trying to read down the lineup. So here is the Cougars' remaining order as Riley Hall is the current batter. On deck is Carter Olek. Alden Quintanilla will bat 7th. And the last two batters up are number 21, Ethan Jackson, and number 17, Braden Gillum. Baker puts that one low and inside, puts the count up to, moves the count to 1-2. Fouled back. This one will go over the press box. Riley Hall staying alive. And there's this game with a .443 batting average on the season. Plays at the Division II level. He's a sophomore from eastern New Mexico. Played in 6 games this last season. This one will stay in play going down the third base line. Thomas Lissy picks it up on the move, gives it over to Lorenzo Rios, and the Larks get out number 1 once again, thanks to the left side of that infield.
So far, it's been primarily that left side of the infield, seeing the majority of the action outside of, obviously, first baseman for the Larks this evening with Lorenzo Rios. But the left side of the infield's been doing work for this Larks defense so far, and they've continued to deliver.
Cougars' next batter up is number 8, Carter Olek. 3 appearances for him at the plate last night. He starts with an 0-1 count. This is his 22nd game of the year with the Cougars. And he'll leave that one inside, making the count even at 1-1. And we'll take a look also at the Larks' defensive alignment tonight. Brady Kreitzer's in left field, and center field is number 12, Caleb Duncan. And Lane Sparks will be playing in right field. And on the infield, Paul Smith is the catcher. At the corners, we have Thomas Lissy at third and Lorenzo Rios at first. C.J. Reed returns to the shortstop position, and Jackson Babcock is back at second. Pitch to untie the count. Another one missing inside. Olek is ahead 3-1. We'll see where Baker decides to put that one. This time he decides to go outside. And Olek is the first batter on this inning. Getting walked for the 6th time this season. That takes us now to number 14, Alden Quintanilla. The sophomore from Colorado Mesa. They'll be transferring to UT Permian Basin next season.
It's interesting to see him this low in the lineup for this squad. We saw him a lot higher in the lineup last night, around like the 3 or 4 hole hitter. So interesting that he's kind of in that bottom half of the lineup tonight.
Yeah, and he was one of the players to get on base too, so I'm a little bit surprised to see him move down all the way from 3 to 7.
Certainly a big leap too. It's not like it was 1 or 2 slots. I mean, that's a pretty sizable leap in the lineup.
He now faces an 0-2 count. With just 1 out from Trent Baker on that ground out from Riley Hall. Baker kicks and deals, and this one will be fouled back, bouncing off the pole once again. And Quintanilla stays alive at the plate. Lorenzo Rios, the first baseman, will cover the bag as Olek takes a short lead. This one put in play, running after it is Brady Kreitzer. He's got the catch. And we'll throw it back to the infield as Carter Olek returns to first base, and the Larks have 2 away.
That right there is why you want to put your fastest players in the outfield. Brady Kreitzer showing why he's one of the quickest players on this team, securing that out. That's not an easy play to make. He ran all the way over from right about where he's standing right now in the outfield, which is in front of a Worth sign out there in the outfield. I don't exactly know what company that is, but it's a Worth sign nonetheless. And he's standing out in front of that sign, and he was quite a ways over from where he caught that ball. Quite an effort there from Brady Kreitzer.
Denver will now send up a new guy in the lineup tonight to keep the inning alive. That is number 21, Ethan Jackson, playing catcher tonight. That's the first one go by for ball one. Ethan Jackson is a freshman from Carmel, California. He breaks his bat as this one will be put in play. C.J. Reed tried making a diving play for it, but it will roll into the outfield, and it's the first hit of the night for the Cougars.
Well, I think at least personally that's the first broken bat I've seen this season at Larks Park. I don't know if it happened when I was gone, but to my knowledge, this is the first one that I've seen this season.
Yeah, I think that's the first one that's happened this entire year.
He splintered that one pretty good too. I mean, I'm pretty impressed on that broken bat attempt there. That was quite the broken bat there. I mean, he like split the whole thing all the way down the bat. That's that's pretty impressive.
So that was the Cougars' first hit of the night, and they now go to their final batter in their order. That is number 17, Braden Gillum, the left fielder. Baker's first pitch to him, catches the low outside corner for strike one. This is Gillum's 15th game of the year with the Cougars after not playing his sophomore season this last year at Porterville College. He now faces an 0-2 count with 2 away. The runner at second is Carter Olek. At first is Ethan Jackson. Baker delivers, and he catches the outside corner once again, and he gets the strikeout for out number 3. Denver was able to put a runner in scoring position, getting Carter Olek to second, but they leave 2 runners stranded this inning. And now going to the bottom half of the second, the Larks will have Wilbert Espinal to lead things off when we come back. It's time for the bottom of the second inning as the Larks will send Wilbert Espinal up to the plate. Facing off still against the starter Simon Lunsford. 7th start of the season, coming in with the best record for the Cougars at 4-2. He will start the inning with a ball. On deck for the Larks is Paul Smith, and Thomas Lissy is the batter in the hole. This one will be put in play, a large gap between the third baseman and the shortstop, and Wilbert Espinal takes advantage of it, putting it right between them and heading over to first base.
Nice way to start the inning. No outs on the board and a runner on first. What more can you ask for? That's a great start to the inning, and now the Larks can maybe get a base runner a little bit more aggressive on the base paths, especially Wilbert Espinal. He's one of the quicker guys on the squad, so we'll see if they elect to have him go try to get a little bit more aggressive, see if he doesn't steal a base or two.
Yeah, because the Larks had a single in that previous inning, and that one came on 2 outs. This time you get the leadoff batter on, and now Paul Smith up to bat. He will put this one in play over to the third baseman. The Cougars will have a double play opportunity as Will Brassel will get the throw over at first base, and Denver turns a double play.
That is the downside to getting a leadoff batter on first base, is it does open the opportunity up for a double play just like that. And all of a sudden now there's 2 outs, and it could be a 3-up, 3-down inning for this Cougar squad.
We'll see what Thomas Lissy can do right here. He's batting 7th in the order tonight. He went 1 for 2 in the game last night against the Cougars with a single and a run. He was also walked twice. His first pitch goes low and inside for ball 1. Looking at Simon Lunsford, he is a young player for this Denver team. He is one of 6 high school seniors on their roster, but he brings a lot of experience to the table. He's committed to play baseball next season at Colorado Mesa. And this one will be popped up, tracked down by the third baseman Shipley, and then the left fielder Gillum comes in. Then he dropped it, couldn't get a hold of it, and that will send Thomas Lissy over to second base. Able to take advantage of the mistake from Gillum as both Shipley and O'Connor came in over from the infield as well, and none of them could have tracked it down.
I thought he had it at first. I didn't actually see the ball fall out of his mitt until after I heard the crowd go wild and then him throw the ball over to second base. And it's a good thing Thomas Lissy kept running. If he wouldn't have kept running there, he might not have gotten that extra base. Now he's in scoring position for Lorenzo Rios.
Rios will await the first pitch. He had a single and a walk last night. He'll foul this one back and moves the count to 0-1. Lorenzo is batting 5th in the order as the catcher last night. Tonight he's batting 8th as the first baseman. Catcher Jackson wants the pitch low. That's where it goes. And it finds the zone. Count now 0-2 to Rios.
He's got to be careful about pitching that low in the zone. Some of those batters love those low pitches. They'll get underneath it and just take one and give it a ride out into the outfield, and that can be a recipe for disaster for some teams.
0-2 on the way. This one will be a ground ball over to Shipley. He'll throw it over to Brassel as it takes one bounce into his glove, and that is out number 3. The Larks got 2 guys on base that inning. Wilbert Espinal got out on a double play. Lissy makes it all the way over to second, but Lorenzo Rios gets out over at first base to conclude the inning. Denver is back to the top of their order for the top of the 3rd inning when we come back. 0 runs, 1 hit, 1 error, and 1 left on base for the Larks in the bottom of the 2nd inning. Dylan Whitfield in the top of the order up next for the Denver Cougars, still facing off against Trent Baker. He will duck down at the first pitch, and the count starts off 1-0. Trent Baker able to put the next one into the zone for strike 1. On deck for the Cougars is Matthew Shipley, and Will Brassel's in the hole. Whitfield batted 2nd last night. He's batting 1st tonight. And now down 1-2. Next pitch for Baker, misses on the outside. Evens the count up at 2 apiece. Whitfield grounded out to Thomas Lissy at third base in his first appearance. He will stay alive as he holds back from that one, going down low. Count now 3-2. The payoff pitch from Baker just misses on the inside, and there's another walk as Whitfield is going to go over to first base.
Well, despite the walks that Trent Baker's allowed, he really has had quite a nice outing so far in these first couple innings that he's pitched. He's had pretty nice command over his pitches, hasn't left anything out over the plate, and he's done a pretty good job at protecting the zone here tonight.
Next batter he's facing is number 11, Matthew Shipley, starting with a 1-0 count. Third baseman also had a ground out in his first appearance. This top half of the lineup for the Cougars has kept both Reed and Lissy busy tonight, as they've had almost all their hits go to that side of the field, and they've been ready making big plays so far. Two-0 count as Shipley steps back into the box. Was a redshirt this last season at UC Colorado Springs. Awaits the next pitch after a throwback to first base. Whitfield slid back safely. Rios will continue to cover the bag, and they're going to try to steal right here as this one goes over the head of Babcock, but C.J. Reed steps in from behind the bag, able to save it from going into the outfield, but Dylan Whitfield steals second.
Well, thank goodness for C.J. Reed backing him up there on that play. If he wouldn't have been behind Jackson Babcock, that ball would have been way out into the outfield and likely would have resulted in at least one more stolen base, if not two.
The pitch to untie the count. This one will be a fly ball. Sparks will run up on it, and he'll stand there and let the ball come to him. He's got the catch for out number 1. That takes us now to the third batter in the order, the first baseman, Will Brassel. Enters tonight's game with a .312 batting average on the season. Just finished his senior season at Colorado Christian, where he played there for 2 seasons. And Baker delivers the pitch to him, and this one's high and outside to make the count 1-0. Whitfield takes a large lead off second. Baker delivers the next pitch, and this time it goes inside. Brassel is ahead 2-0. This will be put in play. Baker going to try to track it down. He does. He will toss it over to Rios, and the Larks have out number 2. And a throwback over to third base. That one was very close, but Whitfield slides back safely, and he's 90 feet away from home plate, but there are 2 outs.
It's a great idea from Lorenzo Rios to fire that one back over to third base. He recognized that he had a little bit of a lead off of third base. He rounded third base thinking, well, I'm going to hold here, see if I have an opportunity to run home, and Rios said, not today. He fired that one back over to third base, and I think maybe sent a little bit of a message over there to the Cougars player.
Yeah, Rios is playing first base tonight, but showing you that he still has his instincts as a catcher. Finn O'Connor comes up to bat and starts with an 0-1 count. Hit into a fielder's choice in the first inning in his last appearance. He's going to look to avoid being part of the final out once again. Another one goes on the outside corner. That one misses lower. 1-1. Finn O'Connor is wearing number 6 tonight. He wore number 27 in last night's game. In last night's game, he was 1 for 3 with a base hit. Now in his second plate appearance, he faces a 2-1 count. That one gets into the zone. Baker works ahead 2-2. So Baker will look for the strikeout right here. If he gets it, it's going to be his 30th of the season. He kicks and deals. Swing and a miss, and he gets the strikeout to retire the side. The Cougars were able to get their leadoff batter, Dylan Whitfield, all the way over to third base, but he is left stranded with 3 outs following immediately after that. Still no scores as we start the bottom half of the third inning. C.J. Reed leads things off next when we return. The future Ohio State Buckeye C.J. Reed comes up to bat as we start the bottom of the third inning. Still no score, and once again, it's another showing of great defense from each team's fielders tonight. We'll see if either team decides to open it up right here as Reed will take the first pitch for ball 1. Still facing off against the starter, number 33, Simon Lunsford. Next pitch catches the outside corner, evens it up 1-1. It'll also be interesting to see how long they decide to keep him in the game, because that was what the problem was for Denver last night. Their starter in that game, Jason Fink, was off to a very strong start, but then they made the change, and that's where the Larks kind of took off from that point on.
He went almost, I want to say it was, 5 innings last night?
7.
7. Wow, okay, so I was way off, but 7 innings. I mean, that's a pretty good mark for a starting pitcher to go all 7 innings. I mean that's a pretty nice outing for him, and he only allowed 3 runs in the 7 innings that he went. And so I would agree in the sense that it really was when they changed pitchers was when things started to get a little bit hectic for their squad, and it made it very difficult for them to pull themselves back into the game. They kind of just let that lead slip away, and we'll see. We'll have to see how the bullpen performs tonight. We don't know what else they have in their arsenal to potentially try and hold themselves into a game like last night.
The key for the Cougars is to keep the Larks' score on the scoreboard to 0. So they're able to get the first out right there as Reed put it in play on a 3-1 count, grounding out to the second baseman Olick. And Larks return to the top of their order with Lane Sparks serving as the leadoff batter tonight in place of Tabor Stokes. Sparks works ahead 2-0 in the count. Next pitch goes to the plate, swing and a miss, ties it up at 2-1. Line drive here for Sparks. This one goes down the left field line, and it bounces foul right at the base of the left field foul pole at the 322 mark. Puts the count at 2-2.
I mean, just a hair to the side of the foul line. Almost landed fair. I mean, that looked really good from up here until it landed into play. And, man, that looks like that really had a chance.
So Sparks goes back up to the plate with an even count. And the pitch goes to the plate. And he will send this one into center field. Whitfield ran up at first. This time will backpedal. And he's got the catch. There's now 2 away. And Sparks had a fly out to center field in his first appearance. And that time when you watch Dylan Whitfield, he did the same thing. He ran forward and then realized where the ball was going and ran backwards to make the catch.
I just think the wind is making it difficult to judge the ball out there in center field. This Kansas wind is always so unpredictable. Even if the wind is supposed to be a constant, or even if there's supposed to be no wind, there's still going to be gusts of wind that happen from time to time that are going to throw off the flight of the ball, especially when it's that high up in the air.
Caleb Duncan now returns to the plate. Leaves the first pitch down low for ball 1. Duncan was 2 for 4 in last night's game, double and a single for him. And he now faces a 1-1 count. Duncan will foul off the next pitch. Count now moves to 1-2. And a swing and a miss on the correction, it's going to be a foul ball. Or, nope, it is a swing and a miss. That leads to the 3rd out of the inning. 3 up, 3 down that inning by the Larks, and now it's time for the top of the 4th inning as we are only 40 minutes into tonight's game. We'll be back in just a moment here on the Larks Network. Trent Baker returns to the mound as we start the top half of the 4th inning, facing off against the designated hitter Riley Hall. And it is time for me to throw the play-by-play duties over to Eli Blankenship.
Well, I appreciate it, Hank. I'm getting kind of flashbacks a little bit from last night's game. I'm seeing a lot of similarities from last night's game, I guess I should say, in the sense that it was very low scoring, no scoring on the board the first half of the game, and then all of a sudden, just one inning. That's all it took, 1 inning for the Larks to kind of break things open, and from there it was really a pretty dominant victory for them last night.
And history can still repeat itself because last night's game, it was scoreless after the 3rd inning. Larks scored the first run in the bottom half of the 4th inning. And when up next, they'll have the one of the top parts of their order, 3, 4, 5.
It'll be a 1-2 count to start the at-bat for Riley Hall. The ball boy goes and snags the ball over there on the Cougars side of the field. That ball struck into deep right field. Backing up to the warning track is Lane Sparks. That ball goes out of play. I thought Sparks actually might have had a play on that ball, even if it would have gone foul. But that ball carried quite a ways into the outfield, and evidently Lane Sparks was not able to make a play on that one. Looks like there's a little bit of action over there in the Larks bullpen. From what I can see from here, speaking of bullpen, that ball fouled away into the, well, closer to the Larks batting cages over there. But it was a number 29 in the bullpen for the Larks. That is Jordan Stribling, the left-hander out of Oklahoma. The 2-2 to Hall. That pitch low for ball 3, and now it'll be a full count. Payoff pitch on the way from Baker. That one misses the zone. It'll be a base on balls for Riley Hall. And that will bring up number 8, the second baseman, Carter Olek.
He showed a lot of plate discipline right there, and just looking at that last inning for the Cougars, even though they weren't able to bring any runs home, that's key for them. As their leadoff batter in that inning, Dylan Whitfield, was walked. He made it all the way to third. They just need the guys after him to step up at the plate.
Yeah, and those last couple pitches that came in over the plate from Trent Baker, those were pretty juicy-looking pitches, I think, personally. Now, I'm not a baseball player anymore, but I personally would have swung at those myself. I mean, those were convincing enough for me to swing at them, so certainly some plate discipline there on display from Riley Hall. One runner on, 0-1 count to Carter Olek. At pitch outside for the first ball of the count. Now the 1-1. That pitch hit hard into left field. There to make the catch is Brady Kreitzer. Tracking it down, using the wheels out there in left field. That'll be out number 1 of the inning. And that will bring up the right fielder, number 14, Alden Quintanilla. Quintanilla averaging .308 on the season, on 24 hits, 2 home runs, and 21 RBIs. First pitch to him is inside for ball 1. Quintanilla, a native of Granada Hills, California. That pitch fouled back into the net. The camera stays in place. One ball, one strike, and one out here in the top of the fourth. 1-1. That pitch hit high and deep into left field. There to track it down is Brady Kreitzer. That ball goes out of play behind the Larks bullpen. And that will be an impending 2 strikes now on Alden Quintanilla. He will face a 1-2 count here in just a moment from Trent Baker. Baker kicks and deals. That pitch high and inside on Quintanilla. Now the 2-2. That pitch hit down the first base line there to make the play is Lorenzo Rios, who converts with a double play to end the inning. When we come back, it's the Larks' turn to get the bats going. The bottom of the fourth next here on the Larks Network. We welcome you back to Larks Park here in Hayes, Kansas. The lights have kicked on almost to their full extent now here in the bottom of the fourth inning. Still quite a bit of daylight, though, here in Hayes, Kansas. That brings up who is not playing first base tonight, the second baseman, Jackson Babcock. He primarily plays first base for the Larks, but he's getting a little bit of a rest tonight, and in his place is Lorenzo Rios. Starts the count 1-1.
It's not the first time we've seen him in that position either. It's this field alignment is what the Larks go with on certain games, and it works very well. They'll send C.J. Reed one spot over to shortstop and then have Babcock over at second, and then usually Rios at first, though sometimes we see guys like Paul Smith take that spot as well.
The crack of the bat from Jackson Babcock is fielded by the first baseman, Will Brassel, who retires Jackson Babcock for the first out of the inning. That'll bring up the Fort Hays State player, the Fort Hays State senior, I guess I should say, Brady Kreitzer, a fan favorite here at Larks Park. First pitch to him is outside for ball one. Last night I had heard that Brady Kreitzer's baseball cards, Larks baseball cards, had been sold out. The first batch of them had been, so Brady Kreitzer will, from what I had heard, he's supposed to order more in as there was more demand for Brady Kreitzer baseball cards here at Larks Park. So kind of a cool deal that the Larks organization does, getting to make baseball cards for the team. Hank Corsair, our very own, has a baseball card. He got to sign an autograph the other night, so that was pretty cool. I got to see that. I was like, man, I might have to get my own Hank Corsair baseball card and get him to sign it for me. So 3-0 count to Kreitzer. 4 straight balls to Brady Kreitzer will result in a base on balls and a runner on first with 1 out. Will bring up number 33, Wilbert Espinal. Espinal, the designated hitter tonight for the Larks. Kind of moves all around the lineup. He typically plays right field when he's playing in the field, but if he's in the lineup, he is usually moving all over the lineup. First pitch to him's in the dirt. That gets away from the catcher, Jackson, and stealing second base is Brady Kreitzer, and he will do so successfully. So now one runner in scoring position with Wilbert Espinal up to the plate.
Showed off his speed right there, but the catcher, Jackson, he made that one very close to being an out, and even though the ball rolled away from him, it's the positioning of the ball that helped him there.
You're absolutely right, and I didn't think he had a chance to even get close to Brady Kreitzer on that play, but, man, he really fired that one in there. The 1-0 is outside for ball 2. Espinal, a junior at Alabama State, native of Marietta, Georgia. Plays outfield and first base for Alabama State. Spent 2 seasons at Murray State Community College. Hit .354 across 103 games. 27 home runs, 110 RBIs with 667 slugging percentage, and a .461 on base percentage. It was first team all-region selection in high school, so he's been a pretty talented prospect for quite some time. Been pretty well recognized over his career. He's played in 7 games this season for Larks. He was kind of a late addition to the team as he was finishing up his junior season. He's averaging .259 on the year for the Larks, along with 7 hits, 4 RBIs, 5 runs, 3 walks, and 1 stolen base. That pitch fouled away. Now a 2-1 count to Wilbert Espinal. Lunsford takes a look back to second. Now the pitch. Swung on and missed by Wilbert Espinal. Count evens up at 2 apiece.
And the count started off 2-0, and right after that they had a quick mound meeting between Lunsford and Jackson. I would assume it's just to make sure they're on the same page, because you look at last night's game where the pitching did their job of keeping the game low scoring, but the batting struggled a little bit, so they need to keep the Larks score at 0 if they want to compete in tonight's game.
That pitch fouled out of play. Count will remain at 2 apiece. You kind of wonder if maybe there was a strategy change after the first walk of the inning with Brady Kreitzer, and then 2 balls to start the count on Wilbert Espinal. Lunsford takes a look back to second. Kreitzer slides in safely. Espinal twirls the bat once. Now the 2-2. And the Larks faithful can't believe it. Wilbert Espinal goes down looking on a pitch that from here looked pretty high and inside on him. But the umpire behind home plate thought otherwise, and that'll be strikeout number 1 of the inning for Simon Lunsford.
We're still kind of in the early parts of the game, so while that one might have been questionable, we do have a new crew tonight, so early on in the game it's a little bit tougher to read the zones.
The first pitch to catcher Paul Smith is in there for strike 1. The 0-1. That pitch outside for ball 1. Paul Smith wearing number 25 for the Larks this season. And the white letters on the red uniform with a blue accent up the side of the jersey. The 1-1 is low and inside on Smith. Now the count is tied at 2-1. The pitch. That pitch fouled away down the first base line. The count now moves to 2-2. Lunsford comes set, takes a look back to second, and Kreitzer now the pitch. That pitch swung on and foul. And Paul Smith will live to fight another pitch. Couldn't quite tell initially if Smith got a piece of that pitch or not. It looked like it may have come off just the very end of his bat, and it just kind of died as soon as he made contact with it.
It would have been called a foul tipped out, but he was saved because Jackson dropped it.
The 2-2 from Lunsford. That pitch hit hard into center field. Backing up at the wall. It's out of here. A 2-run blast in the bottom of the fourth opens the scoring here for the Larks. Paul Smith has got the home crowd on their feet. He tips his cap to Brady Kreitzer, and he rides his horse back into the dugout. The Larks lead at 2-0.
You said it best. You just need that one spark, and there it is right there for the Larks.
Well, and you talked about how fortunate he was to not be called out after Jackson dropped the foul tip at the end of that count. It allowed him to get one more pitch, and that's all he needed to just absolutely blast one out to left center field. Ken Winholtz, the PA announcer, just announced that it is the...
I have 41, but I think he said a different number.
I heard 40. Well, Ken said 43rd, and I think I trust Hank's numbers a little bit better since he's got his whole scorebook over here. But we'll call it 42. We'll split the difference. I'm going to say 42. Now a 1-1 count to third baseman Thomas Lissy. That pitch hit hard into right field. Scooping it up is Alden Quintanilla, and Thomas Lissy will have a base hit here in the bottom of the fourth. Two outs. Larks leading it 2-0 with one runner on first base here in the bottom of the fourth inning, and looks like there will be a meeting on the mound with the ace pitcher, Simon Lunsford, for the Denver Cougars.
Unless the Larks continue to go on a roll this inning, I would not expect them to make a change anytime soon because, like I said in the pregame show, Lunsford brings a lot of experience to the table this season as their ace starter. And at this point, you just got to calm him down and focus on getting the final out. You want to limit the damage as much as possible.
Lunsford with 42 Ks on the season going into this game. Has a 3.27 earned run average on the season. He's allowed 32 hits on 19 runs. In 6 games played, and all 6 of those he has started in, and tonight is his 7th start and game played this season. A new batter for Lunsford, it is Lorenzo Rios playing first base tonight. The first pitch is swung on and missed by Lorenzo Rios. Rios wearing number 26 for the Larks. Lunsford comes set. Now the 0-1. That pitch also swung on and fouled away. Going underneath the legs of Ethan Jackson, catcher for the Denver Cougars. Lorenzo Rios going to have to battle back now with an 0-2 count. Lunsford takes a peek over to first base. Now the 0-2. That pitch hit hard into right field. Can they go back-to-back in the same inning? They cannot, but Rios gets one deep into right field to drop in, and it'll be an RBI double for Lorenzo Rios. here in the bottom of the fourth.
That one definitely looked like it had a chance, but I just took a look at the flagpole out in left field. The wind is blowing that way, so who knows? That was a strong hit, and it definitely looked like it had a chance, but either way, that's got another run for the Larks.
Initially off the bat, that ball looked like that had everything it needed to go the distance. I thought for sure that ball was out of the ballpark, and evidently, I think you're correct. I think the wind may have caught that ball and kind of brought down the velocity, because that ball was smoked off the bat from Lorenzo Rios. He'll still take it, though, a RBI double in the bottom of the fourth inning, and this has been a 3-run fourth inning here for the Larks. It brings up the bottom of the order for the Larks. C.J. Reed, the shortstop, typically plays second base for the Larks, but is taking on the shortstop duties tonight. The 0-1 to Reed. That one hit into left center field. Tracking it down is Whitfield. He cannot make the catch. That one drops down near the warning track. Reed is going for extra bases. He'll make it all the way to third base. It's an RBI triple for C.J. Reed. The Larks now lead it 4-0 in a 4-run bottom of the fourth inning in what has been an explosion of offense for this Larks squad.
History has repeated itself. The middle part of the game, they start scoring the runs, just kind of examining what Lunsford throws at the beginning of the game, and then at this point, this is where they start to take off with the runs.
Well, and I mentioned he's got to be careful how low he leaves some of those balls in the zone, because, as I said, sometimes those are the pitches that batters love the most, of trying to get underneath them and just drill them out into the outfield. And we've seen that over the last couple of batters where they've gotten a pitch that's fairly low in the zone, they get underneath it, and they drive one pretty deep into the outfield, allowing them to pick up some extra bases right there, like C.J. Reed picking up the RBI triple.
And he was sprinting to third base. In fact, I thought his helmet came off. He actually kind of threw it off as he got to second base.
It's very possible that he did. He was probably like, this thing is bouncing up and down on my head. It's getting in the way. I just got to flip it off. And he kind of played it off so that it didn't look like he intentionally threw it off or anything. But it's the top of the order now for the Larks. Really high in the zone on Lane Sparks. He'll take that pitch for ball 3. A 3-1 count for Lane Sparks. Lunsford pitching out of the full windup. Now the 3-1.
That last one was called foul ball, so now it's the full count.
So now a full count. I missed the umpire's direction there behind home plate on that last pitch, and the payoff pitch is high in the zone, and ball 4 for Lane Sparks. He will work his way down to first base, and now runners on the corners for the Larks. We'll bring up Caleb Duncan, who had quite an outing last night. He really showed out on both offense and defense for the Larks.
Yeah, made the highlight plays in the outfield and came up with some big hits, which would prove to pay off later on in the game, especially because with the 2 runs that he scored, he was the first run of the game, and he scored also in that 8th inning where the Larks took off.
For Duncan, he's not the newest addition to this Larks squad, but certainly hasn't been here since the beginning. He's a newer addition to this Larks team. Usually is the general of the outfield, playing center field for the Larks. The Wichita State baseball player. Now the 0-1 to him. That one's hit right up the gut. Fielded by Olek, who underhand throws it to Finn O'Connor to retire the side. The Larks with a very productive 4th inning. 4 runs in the bottom of the 4th. 7 total hits for the Larks on tonight's game so far. When we come back, it's the top of the 5th, and we'll see if the Cougars can come back with an answer here on the Larks Network. We welcome you back to Larks Park. Trent Baker remains on the mound for the Larks. Here in the top of the 5th inning so far, he's only allowed 1 hit in the 4 innings that he's pitched. And he will face Ethan Jackson in the beginning of the 5th inning. The first pitch finds the outside corner of the zone for strike 1.
Larks still have some guys warming up in the bullpen right now, but they're going to be able to keep Trent Baker in the game for a little longer because still pitching a 0, only 1 hit allowed. And the batting came up big in that prior inning, 4 runs on 4 hits.
The 1-1 to Jackson is low and outside. Words are hard sometimes, guys. I apologize. Low and outside. The 2-1 is squeaking its way into the zone. Wow, I didn't think that one had made it in there, but it looked like he might have just caught that outside corner. And now a 2-2 count to Jackson. Baker kicks and deals. That pitched a little bit too low for the home plate umpire's liking. Now the payoff pitch. Outside for ball 4. Jackson will take his base. It is a base on balls and a leadoff walk for the Denver Cougars. That'll bring up the bottom of the order for the Cougars. Number 17, the left fielder, Braden Gillum, will be up to the dish. Baker takes a look to first base. Now the first pitch of the at-bat. That pitch low for ball 1. Baker throws back over to first. Jackson will slide back in safely. Baker will rush his mechanics here as he will fire in the 1-0. That pitch finds the outside of the zone, evening the count at 1 apiece. Baker comes set. Now the 1-1. That pitch hit into shallow right field. There to make the play was Lane Sparks. He couldn't quite get his glove underneath that ball. And it seemed like he was right under that ball. I mean, I thought all the way through that he was going to make that catch. Sparks is such a speedy player for this Larks team. And he just couldn't quite hold on to it. It almost looked like the ball might have popped out as he was trying to slow down.
Yeah, it was just he couldn't get there in time, and the way he kind of caught it, I don't really know how to describe it. It was like his glove was going downward, and that's what caused it to go free.
The 1-2 is hit into shallow right field. Jackson is hauling around second base. He will round third. And so another base hit will advance Jackson all the way to third. He'll be 90 feet away from breaking open the scoring for the Denver Cougars. So runners on the corners for the Cougars. That'll bring up the top of the order with the center fielder, Dylan Whitfield.
And that last play wasn't the strongest hit in the world, but Ethan Jackson able to get to third, and he also had a chance to make it home. It was just because when it got to the grass, it slowed the ball down very heavily, and Sparks was still playing back quite a ways.
Ellen Jackson was really hauling around the base paths. He took off from first base. He actually had a jump. He was already planning on stealing on the 1-2, and Gillum saw a pitch he liked, took it, and it ended up working out in their favor. Jackson was able to get even further than he probably could have on that particular at-bat. That pitch fouled back into the net, and 0-2 count. The camera will stay in place. And Hank will rejoice up here in the booth. The 0-2 on the way from Baker. Pitch high outside of the zone. Now 1 ball and 2 strikes. Whitfield chops that one to first base. There to make the play is Lorenzo Rios. His hat flies off. He dives straight into first base, getting a little bit of extra style points there. And he will secure the first out of the inning. And the Cougars will score their first run of the night as they drove in Ethan Jackson from third base there. So a sacrifice ground out for Dylan Whitfield. Just one runner on now for the Cougars. That brings up the third baseman, Matthew Shipley, number 11. Takes the first pitch high and inside. He bails out of the batter's box. And looks like there will be a meeting on the mound with Trent Baker along with the rest of the infield. Be interesting to see how long they keep Baker in the game, as he started to kind of not lose dictation of the zone, but he's starting to slowly lose control of the zone. That's kind of what happens when a pitcher starts to get a little bit worn and tired throughout the game.
Well, keeping him in the game is all going to depend on how the rest of the inning goes, because you have Jordan Stribling warming up. He's a guy that does a good job of finding the zone and limiting hits from the opponents, especially in relief situations. So we'll see how much longer they decide to keep him in.
Rios will have a little bit of a longer conversation with Baker. He is a fellow catcher. I guess I should say a catcher on this Larks team. It's Paul Smith taking on the catching duties tonight for the Larks. The second pitch of the at-bat is inside on Matthew Shipley. The 2-0. That pitch hit and popped up into the infield. There to track it down is Thomas Lissy, who will secure the second out of the inning. And the Larks are just one out away from retiring the side. That brings up the three-hole hitter, the first baseman, Will Brassel, wearing number 26 for the Denver Cougars. First pitch to Brassel is hit super high in the air. The ball just started coming down, and tracking it down is Lorenzo Rios. He will retire the side after the Cougars score just one run in the top of the fifth inning. To the bottom of the fifth we go. When we come back, it's the Larks' turn to get the bats going once again. Don't go anywhere. You're watching Larks Baseball on the Larks Network. We welcome you back to Larks Park. It's Simon Lunsford still on the mound for the Denver Cougars this inning in the bottom of the 5th. The Cougars coming off of a 1-run 5th inning, breaking open the scoring for them. First pitch to Jackson Babcock is unable to be fielded by Carter Olek. And Babcock will start off the inning with a single.
Now that's what you can't have happen right there, because you get your first run in the prior inning, and now you need your defense to step up, and your lead runner, or the Larks' lead runner, is already on.
That'll bring up the left fielder and Fort Hays State senior Brady Kreitzer, a Hays native, attended TMP in his high school years and then went on to play at the collegiate level at Fort Hays State. A fresh count for Kreitzer. He'll start the count with the ball. Kreitzer shows bunt. Running inward is Shipley. Babcock will progress his way to second. The ball will be ruled foul, it appears. I don't know what the confusion is here.
It hit Kreitzer's foot as he was running. It rolled down the line, and then it got kicked out.
And my question is, if the umpire didn't make the call in the moment, is he able to overturn this call is the question.
Yeah, because I could be remembering the rules wrong, but isn't he called out if he makes contact with the ball?
Yes, if he makes contact with the ball, he's out. That's the same concept if a batter were to hit the ball and it were to make contact with his teammate that's running the bases. If the ball is hit into the runner, the runner's out. Now I just don't know if the umpire didn't see the play, if he is able to make that call or make that judgment purely based on what the catcher reported to him. That's what I don't know what the rule is behind that. It looks like they're going to call it a foul ball. They'll send Jackson Babcock back to first base, and I think Brady Kreitzer will have another shot at it, as it will be a 1-1 count. I think that's the right way to handle that situation, as the umpire didn't make the initial call, didn't actually really see the play happen, didn't see Kreitzer kick the ball with his foot, so it's hard for him to make that call without any judgment of the play. We don't have instant replay at this level of baseball, so the most diplomatic way of solving that is to just call it a foul ball and kind of replay the at-bat, if you will. It'll be a 2-1 count to Kreitzer. The pitch, and that one's hit into shallow left field. It'll be a base hit for Kreitzer. Babcock will make his way to second. It'll be 2 runners on, 1 in scoring position for the Larks here in the bottom of the 5th inning. That'll bring up the designated hitter for the night, Wilbert Espinal, number 33 for the Larks, and it looks like Simon Lunsford's day might be coming to a close, as there is a meeting on the mound and some action in the Cougars bullpen. It looks like it will be the end of the outing for Simon Lunsford. At least it appears so. Over at the gate to the bullpen is number 27 for the Denver Cougars. And the gate is open. That is Tommy Bell, the high school senior. Out of Littleton, Colorado. It looks like the bullpen gate now has been closed, and Simon Lunsford will remain out on the field for at least another pitch or another batter. We'll see how long they keep him out there. Looks like that they're almost ready to make a pitching change here in the bottom of the 5th.
Before we return to action, I just wanted to point out a comment in the live chat left by Michelle Nickerson. She wanted us to shout out Brooks Jones' grandma tuning in from Missouri. We can do that for you. A special shout out to Barb tuning in. We thank you for tuning in and hope you're enjoying tonight's game.
That pitch hit into right field. That one will land in play. Espinal will have himself. It will not land in play. Evidently, that ball went foul. And Jackson Babcock didn't think so as he rounded third base, was going all the way home. A third base coach sent him, and as he was under the impression the ball landed in play, it's hard to see from our perspective as we're so far away from the play. But that will go down as a foul in the count for Wilbert Espinal. He will have an 0-1 count now. Lunsford will step off the rubber. Takes a look over to first. He comes set. Now the pitch. High and outside of the zone. That one gets away from catcher Jackson. And that will advance both runners. And now there's 2 runners in scoring position for Wilbert Espinal.
And with Jackson Babcock at second base right there, he kept acting like he was going to run. And you saw at that last second, Lunsford took a look back, and it worked right there. It always kind of throws off the mindset of the pitcher as he put that one high, and it got away from Ethan Jackson.
The 1-1 to Espinal. That pitch hit to shortstop Carter Olek. He will fire it over to first base, and that will be the first out of the inning. And Wilbert Espinal will have a sacrifice ground out to score Jackson Babcock. There'll be only one runner on base for the Larks. It is Brady Kreitzer on third base. That brings up Paul Smith, the catcher for the Larks tonight. He'll take the first pitch outside for ball 1. The 1-0. Swung on and missed by Paul Smith. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out. And 1 run scored here in the bottom of the 5th. The Larks lead at 5-1. Smith takes that one looking. It'll be strike number 2 in the count. Now the 1-2. That pitch chopped right up the gut. There to field it is O'Connor, and he will throw it over to the first baseman, Brassel, just in time. So it'll be another sacrifice ground out, this time for Paul Smith. And it'll be 2 outs, and now the Larks lead at 6-1 here in the bottom of the 5th inning. Where the Larks now have scored 2 runs. They scored 4 in the bottom of the 4th inning, and now 2 in the bottom of the 5th inning. That'll bring up third baseman and 7-hole hitter, number 15, Thomas Lissy. First pitch to Lissy is finding the inside of the corner. The 0-1 to Lissy. And I don't know if that nicked him. It looked like it did. He's taking off his shin guard, I guess his ankle guard and his elbow guard, as it may have nicked him in the buttocks there at the very end of that play. I think so. Just from the way that he kind of jumped out of the way, it almost looked like he jumped like he was trying to let the pitch go in between him and the plate. And the way that he jumped, he almost jumped towards the plate in a way, and it ended up hitting him in the backside. One runner on for the Larks. Brings up the first baseman and typically the catcher for the Larks, Lorenzo Rios. 1-0 count on the way to Rios. That pitch finds the zone for strike one. Lunsford takes a look to first. Now the 1-1. That pitch dropped right into the zone for strike two. Rios will now face a 1-2 count. Now the 1-2 pitch. Pitch just missed the outside of the zone for ball two. Two balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, and 2 runs scored for the Larks here at the bottom of the fifth. That pitch fouled away and out of play for Lorenzo Rios. Larks lead at 6-1 here in the bottom of the fifth. Rios will face a 2-2 count once again. The pitch. That pitch hit right in the gap. Brassel couldn't get his glove on it. And now rounding second and sliding into third base is Thomas Lissy. Rios will secure a single in the bottom of the fifth inning, and now there'll be runners on both corners for the Larks.
And we might get a change right here. The coach for the Cougars just left the dugout, and they don't currently have anybody in the bullpen anymore.
I'd be surprised if we don't see a change here, especially considering the motion we were seeing in the bullpen there just a moment ago. It looks like Lunsford's day will come to a close, so when we return, we will see the new pitcher. Don't go anywhere. You're watching Larks Baseball on the Larks Network. We welcome you back to Larks Park. It is Tommy Bell taking over the pitching duties for the Denver Cougars, the high school senior. Made 9 appearances this season at Heritage High School. He's a native of Littleton, Colorado. He'll throw one over to first base to hold Lorenzo Rios back on. Rios will make his way back off of first. Now the first pitch of the game from The high school senior is lined out by C.J. Reed straight to Carter Olek to retire the side. The Larks score two runs in the bottom of the 5th inning. The Larks lead at 6-1 going into the top of the 6th. When we come back, it's the top of the 6th inning. Don't go anywhere. You're watching Larks Baseball on the Larks Network. Well, it'll be Finn O'Connor leading off the top of the 6th inning for the Denver Cougars. Larks had a 2-run bottom of the 5th to put them ahead 6-1. Going into the top of the 6th, will be a pitching change for the Larks. After Trent Baker went 5 innings on 2 strikeouts and only 2 hits allowed on 1 run. It was quite a nice evening for Trent Baker after getting recognized before the game. He really showed up and showed out for this Larks team. O'Connor will start the count 1-0. That pitch in there for strike 1. O'Connor wore number 27 last night, and tonight he's back in number 6. They're no longer in their camo uniforms, and I'm kind of rejoicing up here in the booth. Not that these ones are any easier to read, but the camo ones were even more difficult to read on the numbers, and so it appears as though maybe he had only forgotten maybe just his camo uniform, and now he's got his other, so they're in their road whites today. The 1-2 to O'Connor is fouled away. We'll go straight to the Larks of Batgirl. The 1-2 on the way from Jones. Swing and a miss, his first strikeout of the night. 1 out here in the top of the 6th inning now after Jones secures his first strikeout of the outing.
Already making his presence known, doing what he does best, because looking at Brooks Jones in his last 4 games, 27 strikeouts in those appearances. And when you take the number of innings pitches that he has and look at the strikeouts, he's averaging more than 1 strikeout per innings pitched.
Well, that was strikeout number 40 on the year for Brooks Jones, that one right there. And he is certainly one of the players on this Larks squad that is a strikeout pitcher. You have some pitchers that are very strikeout heavy. You have other pitchers that like to play a little bit more defensive-oriented pitching, and Jones is one that really attacks batters pretty well on this team. The 1-1 finds the zone, and now it's a 1-2 count on the designated hitter, Riley Hall. What helps Jones so much is that he gets ahead early in the count, just like he's done here. Jones kicks and deals. That one's chopped straight to the pitcher, Brooks Jones. He'll fire it over to first base. The throw is low, and Lorenzo Rios will not be able to snag that ball. And so that will be a error for the Larks. That is the second error of the night, an E1. So Riley Hall will reach on an error. Hall had to kind of dive back into first base after thinking he was out. He kind of gave up on the play, and then the ball got overthrown, and Hall didn't really know what to do with himself, so he kind of just had to dive back into first base.
I think he also slipped as he was trying to look over at second, and then he didn't have a choice. He decided to go back to first.
That brings up the second baseman, Carter Olek. First pitch to Olek is in there for strike one. Jones's motion is just so smooth. His mechanics are very well put together. The 0-1 is in the dirt. The count now sits at 1 apiece. Here in the top of the 6th inning. 1 out, 1 runner on. The pitch. That pitch low and outside for ball 2. Two one on the way from Jones. That one hit straight in the gap. It'll be fielded by the right fielder, Lane Sparks. There'll be runners now on first and second after the base hit from the second baseman, Carter Olek.
He saw the gap and was able to put the ball there. It's Babcock was playing closer to the second base bag, and it was an opportunity for the Cougars to hit the ball there, and they took it.
That brings up the right fielder, Alden Quintanilla. We mentioned earlier in the game that last night he was a lot higher up in the lineup and dropped all the way down to the 7-hole spot after batting in the 3-hole spot last night. First pitch to Quintanilla, inside for ball 1. That pitch swung on and missed. Now a 1-1 count for Quintanilla. That one's fouled away. It'll be 1-2 on Alden Quintanilla. Jones kicks and deals. Quintanilla holds back on the swing. It'll be high and inside on Quintanilla. The count is now even at 2-2. The 2-2 goes outside. Hall will remain on second base as that one was stopped by catcher Paul Smith. Payoff pitch from Jones. That pitch chopped to third baseman Lissy. He's there. He makes the double play. An inning-ending double play from Thomas Lissy. My goodness. The reactions from Thomas Lissy to end the inning. Some heroics there, getting the Larks out of the pinch that they were in. They lead at 6-1 going into the bottom of the 6th. Don't go anywhere. You're watching Larks Baseball on the Larks Network. Well, we welcome you to the bottom of the sixth inning here at Larks Park. Lane Sparks will lead it off for the Larks. It'll be the top of the order for them. His music of choice is Drake. I didn't recognize the song myself as I'm not an avid Drake listener, but that is his walk-up music of choice for this season. He'll start off the count 2-0 after the first two pitches missed the zone from pitcher Tommy Bell. The 2-0 pitch from Bell is inside on Sparks. Sparks will face a 3-0 count. Larks have hit the ball 10 times tonight and scored 6 runs off of those 10 hits. They lead it 6-1 here in the bottom of the sixth. The 3-0 is in the zone for strike one. On the contrary, the Cougars have only hit the ball 4 times this evening. And on those 4 hits, they've been able to reach home plate 1 time. At 3-1 pitch, high and inside on Lane Sparks. He will make his way down to first base on a base on balls. That'll bring up Caleb Duncan, hitting in the 2-hole slot tonight for the Larks. He is the 8th Street Liquor Beverage batter tonight for the Larks. Wichita State baseball player, a pretty talented player for this Larks squad. Kind of the general of the outfield for this team, as he is the center fielder. Bell will look back over to first. Sparks will dive back into first base safely with his red sliding mitt. Sparks with a little bit of a lead off of first. The first pitch of the count to Caleb Duncan is inside for ball 1. One ball and no strikes. Now the pitch. Sparky goes. That ball is hit out of play for Duncan. That will be the first strike of the count, and Lane Sparks will have to make his way back to first base. I completely lost that ball the moment it came off of his bat. I didn't even see it. I saw Hank look up, and I was like, oh, my, that ball might have a chance to go, but I couldn't see where the ball went. So, well, hopefully it goes foul for me, I guess. Didn't want to miss a call, but I saw the left fielder, Gillum, kind of track his way over to the fence, and in the end, the ball went out of play. It looks like Tommy Bell is trying all that he can now to hold Sparky on first base. After apologies there. Had some technical difficulties with my mic. The 2-1 is low on Caleb Duncan. Count will sit at 3-1. between Tommy Bell and Caleb Duncan. Bell looks back over to first once again. Sparky will walk his way back onto the bag.
They know that he's a dangerous base runner, and they learned that last night because while he had that grand slam, his other trip around the base path was a walk. And
Caleb Duncan drilling that ball, and Hank once again kind of manifests the offense for this Larks squad. And an RBI double for Caleb Duncan. He absolutely smoked that ball, and Lane Sparks took off. Sparky having sparks coming off the back of his feet there on that particular base running fiasco for him. And so now the Larks will lead at 7-1 with one runner in scoring position.
I was about to mention the fact that Sparks, in his one trip on the base path, he advanced 2 bases with stolen bases. And then you take that play right there where he got to home plate so fast, and then Duncan almost had an opportunity to reach third. But with the throw going into home, he had to go back to second.
Well, I blinked, and all of a sudden, Sparky was already at home. I was like, where did this guy come from? I mean, he all the way from first base, makes the trip all the way around the base paths, and makes his way home to extend the Larks' lead all the way up to 6 runs now. That brings up Jackson Babcock, the 3-hole hitter for the Larks this evening. He'll start the count 1-0. The pitch is outside for ball 2. Duncan remains on second base. Certainly a threat on the base paths that Tommy Bell will have to worry about. Bell kicks and deals for the 2-0. That pitch hit high in the air by Jackson Babcock. It will go out of play. Now 2 balls and 1 strike to Jackson Babcock. Babcock, a fairly young player for this Larks squad. Just a freshman in college at the Colorado School of Mines and native of League City, Texas. The 2-1. That pitch hit hard into right center field. Tracking it down is Whitfield. Can he make the catch? Yes, he can. And that will be the first out of the inning for the Denver Cougars. That brings up the Hayes native, Brady Kreitzer, the left fielder in tonight's lineup. Hitting in the 4-hole spot, hitting cleanup tonight after hitting a grand slam, a walk-off grand slam for that matter, for the Larks last night.
And he was in as a pinch hitter, and that was kind of what the Larks were going for. You had the bases loaded, bring home those last 2 runs, get you the run rule victory, and you send your slugging percentage leader up to the plate to do so.
Well, Brady Kreitzer has some serious power on him. He is one of the many Larks with 6 home runs this season. I think there's 3 Larks now with 6 home runs on the season. It's Trent Baker, Brady Kreitzer, and I'm pretty sure Dylan LaRue might also have 6 home runs. He may just have 5. He also has 6. So 3 Larks this season with 6 home runs. Brady Kreitzer being one of those. Mind you, Brady Kreitzer has only played in 21 games this season. The 1-1 count to Kreitzer. That pitch high and inside on Kreitzer. Now 2-1 to the power hitter and left fielder. The pitch from Bell. That pitch hit to shortstop O'Connor. He'll run back Duncan to second base. And Brady Kreitzer will be thrown out at first. Two down now in the bottom of the 6th inning. Only 1 run scored for the Larks here in the bottom of the 6th. That brings up the designated hitter, Wilbert Espinal, wearing number 33 for the Larks. A fresh count for Tommy Bell. He takes a look back to second. Now the pitch. First pitch, low and outside for ball one. The 1-0. That pitch hit hard into right field. Backing up is Quintanilla. That ball's out of here. A 2-run homer for Wilbert Espinal. The Larks Park crowd is on their feet. They're clapping their hands, and the Larks have an 8-run lead. Espinal crosses home plate. He tosses his helmet, and he rides his horse right back on into the dugout. And just like that, the Larks are just 3 runs away from securing their second run rule victory of the series. Correction, 2 runs away. I'm not very good at math, apparently. Four runs in the bottom of the fourth for the Larks, 2 runs in the bottom of the fifth, 3 runs in the bottom of the sixth so far. That brings up the catcher, number 25, Paul Smith, and he will start out with a 1-1 count. The 1-1 is chopped down the first base line, out of play. Brassel will throw it back into Tommy Bell. Paul Smith will now face a 1-2 count. Bell kicks and deals. That pitch hit high into shallow left field. Tracking it down was Gillum, and he wasn't quite quick enough to get to that ball. And so Paul Smith will live to fight another pitch. Smith taking on the catching duties tonight. The Larks kind of have a little rotation they've got going on. They've got about 3 catchers they rotate in and out of the catcher position to ensure the longevity of all their catchers this season. They've got Dylan LaRue along with Paul Smith and Lorenzo Rios have been the primary catchers for this team. Paul Smith, one that plays in the outfield from time to time. That ball hit into left field, and it will go out of play behind the Larks bullpen. Paul Smith, a pretty versatile player himself. He's really played all over the field this season for the Larks. Hasn't played a ton of games for the Larks as he was kind of a late pickup after the Larks lost their starting catcher early in the season. 18 games played so far for Paul Smith. That ball fouled down the first base line. The count will stay at 1-2 with 2 outs here in the bottom of the sixth. Paul Smith, so far in his 47 at-bats, has averaged .298 on the season on 14 hits and 1 home run and 12 RBIs. Smith, a junior at Rice University. The 1-2 to Smith. That pitch high for ball 2. The Larks faithful cheering on Paul Smith. 2 balls and 2 strikes. That pitch high and outside, and now Paul Smith will face a full count after battling back from a 1-2. The payoff pitch on the way. That pitch hit hard into right center field. Another home run maybe. No, it's not going to go the distance, but Paul Smith will pick up some extra bases for that one. A pretty hard hit double. That ball backed all the way up to the fort sign that's back there. Closer to the yellow sign, the We Sell Land sponsorship sign from Whitetail Real Estate, Whitetail Properties Real Estate advertisement sign out there in right center field. And so it will be a double for Paul Smith. And they will put in Tabor Stokes as a courtesy runner for him as he needs to go get his catcher's gear on with 2 outs here in the bottom of the 6th. That brings up the third baseman, number 15, Thomas Lissy.
And I feel like that last hit was another one of those plays where it gets hit to that part of the field and then you have the wind coming from that direction. It was a good launch angle, good contact there by Paul Smith, just fell right at the base of the wall.
I thought for sure that thing had all the juice that it needed to go out of the ballpark, but I think you're absolutely right in the sense that the wind is still certainly a factor. Despite the flagpole being pretty still over there, there's still those wind gusts that you'll face up in those higher elevations when the ball gets higher up in the air. A 1-1 count to Thomas Lissy. Pitch on the way from Tommy Bell. That pitch hit hard and fouled away down the first baseline, just past the Cougars' dugout. And thank goodness that ball didn't go any closer to the dugout, as that could have seriously hurt somebody with the amount of power that was put on that ball from Thomas Lissy.
Went wide of the dugout, and that's why they put up a small net next to it.
1 ball, 2 strikes, Thomas Lissy. Pitch on the way from Tommy Bell. That pitch a little bit high for the home plate umpire's liking. Count moves to 2-2. Two balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs to Paul Smith. Excuse me, not Paul Smith, Thomas Lissy. That pitch outside and in the dirt for ball 3, and now that brings up yet another full count for Tommy Bell. Stokes with a small lead off of second. The pitch from Bell is high and outside, and it'll be another walk for Tommy Bell, and it will be a base on balls for Thomas Lissy, and that brings up the bottom of the order. Excuse me, almost the bottom of the order. The 8-hole hitter, Lorenzo Rios, the first baseman for the night for the Larks. Rios mounts his bat. He'll take the first pitch low and outside for ball 1. Larks with runners on first and second. They lead this one 9-1 here in the bottom of the 6th. One ball and no strikes to Lorenzo Rios. Bell will come set. Now the pitch. That pitch hit straight to the shortstop, O'Connor, who kind of bobbled the ball. It was a really hard hit ball from Rios, and that will be ruled as a hit. And I would say that's the correct ruling there, as that was a really hard hit ball from Lorenzo Rios, and he will secure himself a base hit. And now it's the bases loaded with the shortstop, C.J. Reed, up to the plate.
The only batter that hasn't come up to the plate yet this inning, and if he can bring 2 runs home, the Larks just have to hold the Cougars in the next inning, and they've got another run rule win.
All C.J. Reed needs to accomplish now is a base hit for the Larks here in the bottom of the 6th. He'll take the first pitch for strike 1. No balls and 1 strike on Reed. That pitch hit high into center field. Tracking it down is Whitfield. He gets underneath it and makes the catch to end the inning. The Larks lead at 9-1 going into the top of the 7th. When we come back, I'll turn the play-by-play duties over to Hank. Don't go anywhere. You're watching Larks Baseball on the Larks Network. Well, we welcome you back to Larks Park here at the top of the 7th inning. I'm going to turn everything back over to Hank. Hank, over to you.
Thank you, Eli, and what a night it's been for the Larks as we start the top half of the 7th inning. Brooks Jones to the mound, facing batters 8, 9, and 1 for the Cougars.
Starting to believe that Blankenship magic might actually be real. The middle 3 innings, once again, have, without fail, have come through. 4 runs for the Larks in the bottom of the 4th, 2 in the bottom of the 5th, and 3 in the bottom of the 6th. A pretty good showing from the Larks after they got things going on offense.
If this game goes full 9 innings, it'll be undeniable proof because the Larks just need 2 runs, and we got another run rule.
Well, especially after last night when they waited until the 8th inning to decide to put some more runs on the board, where it's like, come on, guys, are you kidding me? You get 2 grand slams in 1 inning? Like, that is ridiculous.
2-1 count now to Ethan Jackson, the freshman from Monterey Peninsula. The pitch from Jones to untie the count, just misses high and outside for ball 3. It's the 5th batter Jones has faced tonight. He came in relief for Trent Baker at the start of the 6th inning. He's done really well so far as he now faces a full count against Jackson. He's only given up 1 hit. He's got 1 strikeout on the night. He's gotten some help from his fielders so far. And he's got a chance to get another strikeout right here. Payoff pitch goes to the plate. And a swing and a miss. Brooks Jones has another strikeout on the night and one away in the top of the 7th.
Well, Brooks Jones is, as we've mentioned, a strikeout hound for this Larks team. And, boy, has that been on display here this evening. Only 2 strikeouts so far on the night, but, man, what a showing they've been. And the strikeouts that have been strikeouts for Brooks Jones, they were important outs. I mean, that one right there was just an exclamation point with that pitch right there to close out that count.
Last batter in the order here for the Denver Cougars is number 17, Braden Gillum. Sophomore outfielder from Porterville College, playing in left field tonight. 1-0 count for him. He is 1 for 2 on the night, base hit and a looking strikeout. Swings and misses, and there is strike 1.
That was a good-looking pitch there from Brooks Jones. Was able to get him on the outside corner and got him to take the bait, and good-looking pitch there.
Next ball goes to the plate and misses outside, tying the count up at 2-1. This was Gillum's 15th game of the season for the Cougars. He's got a .412 batting average on the season. So far tonight is 1 for 2 and was a new face in the lineup tonight. Just like the leadoff batter, Ethan Jackson. So the first 7 batters tonight for the Cougars were all players that played in last night's game. The last 2 are new in the lineup tonight. 3-1 on the way, goes outside, and it's ball 4 as Braden Gillum gets his 2nd trip on the base path tonight, heading over to first base.
Well, if the Cougars want to have any chance of extending their lifeline, I guess here is the way I would describe it, they've got to get some more runs on the board. They only have one run on the board right at the moment, and if they can at least get 2 runs here in this inning, they'll at least put themselves in a little bit better position to start to work their way back into this game. But they're going to need a lot of runs and quickly to be able to continue to compete with this Lark squad.
0-1 on the way. This one popped up, getting under it is Jackson Babcock. Took 1 step back into the grass, but he makes the catch. There's 2 away. That'll bring up the third baseman, Matthew Shipley, for the 4th time at the plate tonight. The first 3 batters for the Cougars have all been have made their appearances in the odd number innings. They've been getting an inning of break. But we'll see what Shipley does right here as he's 0 for 3 on the night. He'll put this one in play, and he gets his first hit as it takes a hard bounce over the head of Lorenzo Rios. Running to third now is Braden Gillum. And he slides in, and the ball gets away. But it will keep him there at third, but it will also advance Matthew Shipley over to second base, and Gillum is hurt over at third base.
Yeah, he looks like he's in quite a bit of pain over there. I'm wondering if he got hit with the ball or if when he slid in, he just hit the base wrong or something. I kind of missed, really, quite frankly, what happened to Gillum.
He's going to stand back up. And looks like he'll stay in the game. He's talking to his third base coach right now. But he will pick his helmet back up. It's always good to see. He's going to stay in the game as he's 90 feet away from home plate. Cougars aren't in a spot where they're giving themselves a chance to win, but it would be good for them to get some runs this late in the game and at least try to compete.
They're playing for pride at this point, I think, and so for them it's how do you want to look at this game in the grand scheme of things. When you look at that score on your schedule, is it 9-1 or is it 9-3 or 9-4? And it looks a little bit better if it's 9-4 or 9-5 because you've at least put a little bit of offense on the board.
Count now 0-2 to the first baseman, Will Brassel. The only senior on this Denver Cougars roster out of Colorado Christian. Next pitch on the way from Jones will be put in play. Rolling over to C.J. Reed on the run. He'll field it, give it over to first base, and the Larks get out number 3. The Cougars got 2 runners in scoring position with Braden Gillum and Matthew Shipley, but they're left stranded as Will Brassel grounds out over to C.J. Reed. It's time for the bottom of the 7th inning. The Larks need 2 runs for another run rule victory. We'll be back in just a moment. We welcome you back to Larks Park as we start the bottom of the 7th inning. Larks leading 9-1. With 2 runs here, they can put away the game and get back-to-back run rule victories over the Cougars. And best to do it right now because they're at the top of their order with Lane Sparks leading things off. He was the leadoff batter in the last inning. And because the Larks went through their entire lineup, he is back up again. Pitch on the way from Bell. And this one is hit high in the air into center field. Whitfield will run back for it. He's going to track it down, and he gets under it for the first out. First out of the inning. That takes us now to number 12, Caleb Duncan. The 8th Street Liquor beverage batter in tonight's game. He had a hit in his previous at-bat. That was an RBI double where he would eventually score on that trip around the base path as well. So we'll see what he does this time around. First pitch goes to the plate, and it just misses on the outside for ball 1. Infield's going to play back a little bit for the Cougars. Duncan puts this one in play. O'Connor tried making a jumping attempt for it, but it goes over his head, and Caleb Duncan has his 2nd hit of the night, and that is discounted drinks for Larks fans.
One more drink potentially before the game gets over for the Larks faithful, and I'm sure they're not unhappy about that. And Jackson Babcock now up to the plate will be the potentially game-winning run here at the plate if they can drive him home.
Babcock 2 for 4 on the night so far. He's going to be one of the players that we interview in the post-game show, along with Paul Smith, who had his 2nd home run of the season tonight. We might see him again this inning as well. It's just going to depend on how far both Duncan and Babcock would advance the bases if they both get on. Pitch on the way, and it gets in the zone for strike 1. Babcock will step back into the box, working with Duncan at first, taking a lead. Brassel will cover first base. And this one goes off the pole and moves the count to 1-2.
That's the same pole. That is twice tonight on that pole. That pole's been a popular target tonight, and, well, a lot of this season, I guess, for that matter.
Pitch on the way, and it's high and outside, moving the count to 2-2. Bell delivers, and another one goes foul towards the Cougars dugout. Babcock still faces the count at 2-2. Popped up, this one going out of play. Shipley was running after it. Babcock staying alive as he will now await the 7th pitch of his at-bat.
Well, there's a horde of children over there circling that ball, trying to maybe secure it either for a souvenir or for a $1 bill from the Larks nest. It's hard to say.
Put in play, the first baseman will field it over to second base, back to first, and it's in time for out number 3. So that'll conclude the inning. We'll have the top of the 8th up next. Larks still lead at 9-1. We'll be back in a moment. We welcome you back to Larks Park as we start the top of the 8th inning, and the Larks make a change on the mound as Brooks Jones goes in for 2 innings. The Larks will sub in Adrian Nahar, the junior from DeSoto, Texas. Played this last season at Navarro Community College, but just recently announced that he's found a new home at the Division I level. He will be playing for the McNeese State Cowboys next season.
Pretty cool opportunity for him to be able to compete at a Division I level. Pitcher, no less. That's not an easy feat to accomplish. The Division I level, obviously very competitive baseball. I have no doubt in my mind, though, that Adrian Nahar will go on to do great things at McNeese State, as he is a very talented pitcher himself.
Had a solid career at Navarro Community College, and for him, this is actually a return to the Division I level, and he gets a looking strikeout there on Finn O'Connor, the first batter that he faces. As Finn O'Connor goes down with a strikeout for the third time tonight. That'll take us now to the designated hitter, Riley Hall. And the count starts off 1-0.
Not just any strikeout for Adrian Nahar, 3 straight strikes for him on that at-bat. That was a pretty nice at-bat to start off your outing.
He delivers, and a swing and a miss. 1-1 is the count. And as I was saying about Nahar, after that career that he had at Navarro Community College, this is a return for him to the Division I level, because he started his college career in 2023, and he was a redshirt at Texas State. As this one's put in play, Lorenzo Rios fields it and gets it over to Nahar, but it'll get away from him. And Paul Smith saves that one from turning into a disaster, getting behind first base and saving the Larks from giving up another base.
Well, that was quite the diving stop there from Lorenzo Rios. He didn't even really stop that ball with his glove. He stopped it with his chest almost. It was almost like he was jumping on top of the ball in a fumble situation in football. He just dove out for it head first, got on top of the ball, and was able to flip it over to Nahar. And it was just, he was so rushed that he wasn't able to make a quality throw over to Nahar, and it was hard for Nahar to make his way, at least get his glove on that ball.
0-1 count to the sixth batter, Carter Olek. One away, runner at first. Pitch on the way, swing and a miss. 2 strikes in the count. We'll see if Nahar can do it again.
Nahar just throws so hard. You can just see his mechanics, how quickly he releases the ball, how much velocity is behind that thing.
Pitch on the way, finds the strike zone, another backwards K for Adrian Nahar, and there's 2 away in the top of the 8th.
Wow. Talk about flames coming off that pitch. That is strikeout number 26 on the year for Adrian Nahar with the Larks, and this is just his 11th game played this season for the Larks, and this is now his 22nd inning that he's pitched on the year. He has a 1.67 ERA, so that's a pretty nice ERA to be sitting at late in the season.
Denver's still trying to advance the runner at first base, Riley Hall. Count 1-0 to Alden Quintanilla. Nahar delivers. Swing and a miss, moves the count to 1-1. Quintanilla 0 for 3 on the night so far. Was also 0 for 2 last night with a walk. He's another player for this Denver team that you could say has a lot of experience. He's entering the transfer portal to UT Permian Basin next season. He's got some lower-level college experience at Chico State and Los Angeles Valley College, where he had a lot of success at that level. And that'll be the end of the inning, as it's a line drive to left field, and Brady Kreitzer makes the catch for out number 3.
Adrian Nahar taking care of business there in the top of the 8th inning. We'll see if the Larks can make something happen here in the bottom of the 8th.
We'll find out about that in the next inning when we come back. Tommy Bell back to the mound as we start the bottom of the 8th inning. It's the middle part of the Larks order with Brady Kreitzer leading things off, followed by Wilbert Espinal and Paul Smith. Bell has been in since the middle of the 5th inning. Staying on the mound, starting with a 1-0 count against Kreitzer. And the next pitch this time goes high and inside. Left fielder's ahead 2-0 in the count. Another pitch goes down low, and it's 3-0 in the count for Brady Kreitzer.
Well, Kreitzer was the nail in the coffin for last night's run rule victory. We'll see if he can't be a contributor here tonight.
Next pitch finds his own for strike 1. If he gets on, Wilbert Espinal is going to be the next batter up, and in his last appearance, he had a 2-run home run, so we'll see if he can do that once again. This one put in play, fly ball into shallow center field, and tracking it down is Whitfield for the first out. Wilbert Espinal up to bat, working with nobody on base, unlike his previous appearance where he had that 2-run home run. Overall tonight he has 3 RBIs and 1 other hit back in the 2nd inning. And that one takes a bounce inside for ball 1. So Espinal will step back into the box. And the pitch gets sent his way. And it's popped out of play, moving the count to 1-1. Reminder to fans to stick around for our post-game player interview after the conclusion of tonight's game with Jackson Babcock and Paul Smith tonight.
It's always fun to get to talk to those guys after the game, getting to kind of hear their perspective. I think I said it was a while ago. It's, we're up here in the booth and we can say all we want about the game, but we're not the ones that are actually in the game, in the moment, on the field. To be able to really make those split-second decisions, it's such a different perspective for them out on the field. So getting to kind of hear their perspective about the game is always really cool.
2-2 now to the Alabama State Hornet, Wilbert Espinal. And he swings and misses, and that is out number 2.
Well, this is their last opportunity to try to secure the run rule victory, as if they go down here on this at-bat, they'll just have to hold the Cougars in the top of the 9th inning. Since the Larks are obviously the home team tonight.
Paul Smith leaves the first pitch high and inside for ball 1. Some of the infielders are going to play close to the grass as the next pitch finds the zone. Count now 1-1. And Smith makes contact with the third pitch of the at-bat, fouls it out of play. 1-2 now to the catcher.
Still giving away dollar bills when you return the foul balls to the Larks nest, courtesy of the East Coast Department.
Tommy Bell gets set, pitch on the way. Hard hit ball over to the second baseman, Olek, who's standing in the grass. He throws it over to first, and the Cougars able to force a 3-up, 3-down inning. But for the Larks, they are 3 outs away from getting their 12th straight win of the season. We'll have the conclusion of tonight's game when we come back. It's time for the top of the ninth, and the Larks are 3 outs away from adding another victory to their season. As the Cougars come up to bat, they'll have Ethan Jackson leading things off, trying to fight back and compete in the second game of this 3-game series. Jackson's gotten on base twice tonight, a hit and a walk for him. His most recent appearance, though, was a strikeout. And he starts with an 0-1 count, swinging and missing, still facing off against number 17, Adrian Nahar. Next pitch on the way. This one will be a line drive going into foul territory. And Jackson is now down 0-2. And a swing and a miss, putting that one on the outside. There's one away in the ninth. And for Adrian Nahar, that's his 3rd strikeout of the night, first one swinging.
Just 2 more outs for the Larks to close out this one and secure the W on the night. Clinch the series for him as well if they can pull away with a win.
Line drive here by the batter, Braden Gillum, deep to the outfield, and it's gone. A solo home run for the left fielder, Braden Gillum, his 2nd hit of the night. He sends it over the left field wall, and the Cougars have their 2nd run of tonight's game. And home run number 1 of the season for the sophomore from Porterville College.
Well, unfortunately, it might be a little bit too little too late for this Cougar squad, as they still do trail by 7 runs.
But even in this situation, as the Cougars coach, this is what you want to see. That middle part of the game kind of put them out of it early, but you want your players to continue to fight. Back to the top of the order with Dylan Whitfield. And one away. The count 1-0. Nahar kicks and deals. And that one misses on the inside for ball 2. We'll see where Smith positions his glove. He puts it a little bit on the outside, and it's able to get there for the first strike. To untie the count, that one takes a bounce at the plate. 3-1 now to Dylan Whitfield. Pitch on the way from Nahar, and that one gets in the zone and leads to a full count. Nahar is ready, so is Whitfield. Payoff pitch goes to the plate, and it's fouled off. Whitfield staying alive. 6 pitches in the at-bat. This next one will be number 7. Pitch on the way from Nahar, and ducking out of the way is Whitfield. He's going to go over to first base. That'll take us now to the third baseman, Matthew Shipley, for his 5th appearance of the night. He is 1 for 4 so far, and we'll wait the first pitch after Lorenzo Rios came over from first base to have a quick meeting with Nahar. And here comes the first pitch. This is on the outside for ball 1. Smith centers his glove, pitch on the way, and it's missed, 1-1. Nahar gets set to deliver the next pitch. Took a look over at first base where Dylan Whitfield is standing, and now will throw back. And he slides back safely. And this one foul back, hits the top of the net. Camera shakes a little bit. There was a net in the way for a second, but camera's still doing good tonight. Nahar can now look for strikeout number 4. He delivers the pitch, and it's a line drive, and it will go into the outfield as Brady Kreitzer goes to pick it up. It will advance each runner 1 base.
Well, there's still some fight in this Cougars team yet. Got a couple runners on the bags and only 1 out. They've certainly still have the possibility to put a few more runs on the board.
Next up is the first baseman, Will Brassel. He's gotten out in his last 3 appearances. The one time he got on base was through an error back in the first inning. And he starts with a 1-0 count. Larks fans in disagreement with the call from the home plate umpire, Zach Goldberg. Swing and a miss. Is able to get strike 1 there for Nahar against Will Brassel. Nahar gets set to deliver the next pitch and then looks back at second. This one is sent deep into center field. Duncan running back for it. And that's gone. A 3-run home run for the Denver Cougars, their 2nd home run of the inning. And now they've cut the Hayes Larks lead down to 4.
You know what? Honestly, props to Will Brassel. I mean, that was like dead center field. That's not a small distance to homer at, especially not here at Larks Park. 405 feet is the furthest part of that fence. I would say he was probably right around the 400 section, was pretty close to where he homered over there. That was quite the hit there from Will Brassel, especially amid the circumstances for the Cougars.
1-1 count now to the next batter, Finn O'Connor. Batting in back-to-back innings, trying to give himself some redemption as he's been struck out in his last 3 appearances. Half-hearted swing, he's now down 1-2. One-two on the way from Nahar, and it catches the high outside corner, and he's got another strikeout. Number 4 on the night for Nahar, 3 of which have been looking, and there's 2 away.
Well, I'm sure this probably has not been the outing that Adrian Nahar was expecting to have when getting on the rubber tonight, but 4 strikeouts, and you know, you're still got a 4-run lead. You can't be upset about that.
First ball goes on the dirt. 1-0 count to start for the designated hitter, Riley Hall.
The big thing Nahar needs to keep in mind, they brought him in the game to close it out. That's what they did, and as long as the Larks come out with the W, it really doesn't matter how many runs the Cougars put on the board, just as long as Nahar can close this out.
So it'll roll down the first baseline, foul for strike 1. Now Hall awaits the next pitch. And here it comes. Line drive into the outfield. And another hit for the Denver Cougars, staying alive here late in the game.
They are certainly not giving up. They've still got a lot of fight left in them. Got a runner on first. They're starting to pick away at this lead little by little. I don't see any movement in the Larks bullpen, so I would imagine that Frank Leo has faith that Nahar can close this game out.
There also wouldn't be a point to do it because you got to save arms for tomorrow to go for the sweep tomorrow. And with the batting, they've given Nahar this opportunity to where you just have to focus on getting the one out. You got a huge cushion to work with. Just need to focus on getting the batter out at the plate. Next batter is the second guy that he struck out, Carter Olek. Pitch gets sent his way, and it's fouled back. Camera staying in his place once again.
Camera's been resilient tonight.
Cougars have a courtesy runner over at first base. That's Blake Roberts. And we await the next pitch. 0-1 on the way, and it's outside, putting the count to 1-1. Taking a lead off first base is the courtesy runner for the Cougars. And the count moves to 2-1. Again, that courtesy runner is number 9, Blake Roberts. And the next pitch misses outside for ball 3.
The wind is certainly still a factor in this game. The flagpole's really whipping over there in left field. It's picking up, actually, right now as we speak. Wind certainly getting a lot more aggressive.
Fly ball into right field. Sparks runs after it, and this one's going to go all the way to the wall. Hall will round third as Olek stops at second, and another run scores. 5 unanswered this inning now for the Cougars. And while they trailed 8 by 8 runs entering this inning, they aren't going away just yet.
They've cut the lead down to just 3 runs now, and they've got a 1 runner in scoring position. It looks like they're going to have a little bit of a mound meeting out there to settle the nerves of Adrian Nahar right now, as I'm sure he's certainly feeling the pressure.
Keith Harper is going to come out from the dugout as well for the meeting. So Nahar is going to stay on the mound, just needs the 1 out to retire the side and give the Larks the win. That brings up Alden Quintanilla. And Denver has officially hit their batting order in this inning as their leadoff Ethan Jackson is on deck. That one fouled back. Starts the count off 0-1. Carter Olek, who had that RBI double just a moment ago, will take a lead off second. And here comes the pitch. On the inside, it's going to find the zone for strike 2. Now Hard just needs one more, and he can retire the side and finish off tonight's game. Larks fans start clapping their hands to help him out. The pitch goes to the plate, and half-hearted swing. Did he go around? They're going to say he did not. Larks fans couldn't believe that one, but Alden Quintanilla stays alive.
It was close. I don't know. That's such a hard call to make, especially for the infield umpire who's actually looking at it dead on as opposed to the side.
Swing and a miss, and the Larks are able to hold off the Denver Cougars and get their 12th straight win.
Well, the Larks will close it out after a pretty shaky end of the game there. A 5-run, top of the 9th inning for the Cougars. But the Larks will, in the end, come out on top. 9-6 is your final score. The Larks on 15 hits on the night on 9 runs, and then 11 hits for the Cougars on 6 runs. And it was a pretty fruitful middle of the game for the Larks, and as for the Cougars, all their runs really came at the very end of that ball game, and it seemed like there for just a moment they were striking back, knocking back on the door of the Larks, making it it was within reach there for just a moment. It was certainly possible for them to bring it back together, but they'll close it out in Larks fashion, getting that all ironed out, and they didn't let that lead slip at all. Trent Baker will get the win on the night, and Hank will have the on-field post-game player interview here pretty soon. Hank is going to interview both Jackson Babcock along with Paul Smith. So we will send it down to Hank, and don't go anywhere after the post-game interview. We will have our post-game show with Hank and I, and then we will end the broadcast. Down to Hank.
Thank you, Ken. I'm here first with Paul Smith, who had 2 hits tonight, including a two-run home run. What was working for you tonight?
Just getting good pitches to hit and putting your A swing on them.
And that home run was your second home run of the season. So what did you notice on that pitch? Because especially it led to the first runs of tonight's game.
It was 2 strikes. I was kind of shortening it up a little bit and kind of punched it the other way, and it flew. So.
And you joined the Larks this season after playing 3 years with Rice. So I just wanted to ask, how did that experience help prepare you to come to Hayes? Because you played at different levels at Conference USA and American Athletics. So how did that prepare you?
It prepared me pretty well. I mean, I've gotten coached by a bunch of big leaguers over there, so yeah.
Congrats on the win tonight. Give it up for Paul Smith.
Let's kill this.
I'm now here with Jackson Babcock, who had 2 hits and a run tonight. What was working for you?
I was just putting the bat on the ball and just going up there, being simple with stuff and finding pitches I can handle.
And I want to talk about that pitching matchup that you faced for the first 3 plate appearances for you. Their starter is a commit to Colorado Mesa, who is an RMAC rival for you. So how's that going to prepare you for next season at Colorado School of Mines?
It's great that I get to see that guy. He threw me a lot of fastballs, and I was just ready to attack.
And how will these types of games help prepare you guys for the NBC World Series, where the batting picks up later on in the game, you face some good pitching, and you got to rely heavily on your fielding?
Yeah, so we've been just kind of just playing the game right and doing all the little things right. We got a couple hit and runs right, and we got a sack bunt down, a bunch of just little things like that to prepare us for the NBC.
Congrats on the win. Give it up for Jackson Babcock.
Thanks, Hank. Great job tonight. Thanks to Paul Smith.
Well, we appreciate Hank for conducting our on-field post-game interview. When we come back, we'll have our post-game show with Hank and I. here in the booth. So don't go anywhere. We'll have our final thoughts in just a moment.
The Larks got the early lead and were able to hold off a late push by the Cougars as they get the win, improving to 27-4-1 on the year. As we welcome you into the post-game show here at Larks Park, it was again the Larks picking up the bats in the middle part of that game and able to get the win. They had 9 runs all coming in the 4th, 5th, and 6th inning, thanks to some strong performances by some of the guys. We saw Wilbert Espinal have a home run as well as Paul Smith and some other guys come up big, including Lorenzo Rios. And also we saw players like Caleb Duncan come up big as well. All-around great team effort on the batting side, and the Larks got another win.
It was certainly a slugfest for this Larks squad tonight. They hit the ball really well. They saw the ball really well, for that matter, and they really put together a pretty nice offensive performance. Defensively, they looked pretty good for the majority of the game. That last bit of the game was really where their defense started to slip up a little bit, and the Cougars showed some real fight at the end of that game, and props to the Cougars for that. But I think if you're Coach Frank Leo, you're happy you got the win, but probably not extremely happy you gave up all those runs there at the end of the game.
And going along with that, you got to tip your hat to the Denver Cougars going into that last inning down by 8 and putting up the amount of runs that they did, just giving themselves an opportunity, but it was too little too late. You still got to give them a lot of credit in the fight that they put up, especially because entering this game they have nothing to lose at this point in the season.
You're absolutely right. They don't have anything to lose at this point of the season. They don't have a chance to make the NBC this year. They're really not in any contention right now in their particular league. And so for them, it's really just a matter of trying to piece together some of those things that they work on during the season, trying to develop those skills and get themselves ready for their college seasons, and then prepare themselves for the next season, for the next summer.
And one of the things I asked Jackson Babcock on the field is how are these types of games going to help prepare them for the NBC World Series, especially looking at how the bats showed up later on in the game. The Larks had strong performances with fielding, and they survived a late push from the Cougars. And also, the Larks had 3 fielding errors in tonight's game and still won by the amount that they did up until that 9th inning. It really shows what they can bring to the table in Wichita, since it's now 5 days away from the inaugural game.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting. I'm really excited to get to go to Wichita and to get to see those guys in action. They're going to. I have no doubt in my mind that the Larks are going to really represent well for the city of Hayes and really for the Larks organization as a whole. They're the defending champs this year. They've got a lot to prove. They've kind of got a target on their back after their success last season. So we'll see how well things go for them in Wichita. And like you said, they get to play the inaugural game for the 2025 championships. So I'm excited. It should be a lot of fun to get to see how they perform.
So tomorrow night will be the final game of this 3-game series as the Larks will meet the Cougars here at Larks Park. That game is listed on the Larks website as a 6 o'clock first pitch, but on Game Changer it's listed as a 7 o'clock first pitch. So we'll get that figured out for you guys of what time that game will start. But it will be an RMBL game and the final matchup of the season between the Larks and the Cougars. But that's going to wrap up our coverage of tonight's game as the Larks get the win by a final score of 9-6, improving to 27-4-1 on the year, 19-4 in RMBL play, and securing their 12th straight win as the Cougars now fall to 8-18 and 8-15 in RMBL play. So we thank you all for tuning into tonight's game. I'm Hank Corsair, and alongside me tonight was Eli Blankenship. Good night from Larks Park.